and welcome back to the Extra Point, which starts
right now.
Pierson Wylie, and I'm joined today by Jay Black, Woynerowski, and Asante Grundy. Folks, thank you for being on the Extra Point today. Today we do start off with a little bit of sad news that has hit the sports world in the past 72 hours. Sunday morning, Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash along with 7 others. If you had tuned into Tigervision Facebook on Monday, you saw that process the tribute video for Kobe Bryant, and me, Jay, and Kate's thoughts were featured on there. I kind of want to get Asante's thoughts since he couldn't be on the process of this video on your favorite Kobe moment.
My favorite Kobe moment as a Celtics fan, honestly, was the 2010 finals, like at the end where Game 7, he went for 6 for like 24. He had an awful game, but he still put up some points that game, and he rightly deserved to be MVP of that series. He was clearly the best player of that series. But and other thoughts, it's a huge loss for the world. Yeah. Basically, he's 40 minutes from where I grew up. If a lot of people don't know, he's a big Eagles fan too. So, I know LA claims him, but Philly, we claim him as well because, he's one of us as well. But just tragic loss in the world. So.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched on this with the whole process, but I'll say it again. A true basketball ambassador, not only, obviously, his accomplishments on the court, but his advancements and really emphasis on growing the game, not only internationally with various things in China and Italy and Brazil, but also his very much focus and importance of the women's game. Obviously with his daughter Gigi, who unfortunately passed away in the crash too, but he was always present during women's college basketball games. He was always present during WNBA games. He really just loved the game, and that's something that, I'm not sure who's going to be able to step in and replicate that and be sort of that big name ambassador for the sport as a whole.
Yeah, this is really tough loss to swallow. Actually, this is actually like the first day it's kind of hit me that this whole thing happened, and it's just hard to it's been hard to process the whole weekend. But to me, to bring up Jay's point, he was a huge ambassador for the WNBA basketball and for the women's college basketball world as well, as I mentioned on the process of this episode. But today I heard a story about how this kid, he was sick and he wanted something from the Lakers, something signed, and so this guy came over and he's like, well, Kobe actually wants to meet you instead. Let's do it. And he snuck in the side of the hospital. And Kobe even said he wants no PR. He just wants to meet this kid.
Wow.
I mean, that's how much he cares. And apparently there have been several more stories coming out of it that are very similar to this. He's just a great human being as well. And I think that's really what's toughest about this loss. It's just that it's not just the loss of a great basketball player, in fact, a Hall of Famer, let's be honest. And it's just, we lost a great person in this world, and also his daughter. This is really tough, I have to say. It's hard.
I mean, yeah, I think one point that was made by Reggie Miller last night on Inside the NBA that I thought was very profound was he was talking about how Kobe had kind of grown up of our eyes. I mean, Kobe started out as this young 17-year-old kid when he came into the league, and we watched him mature and become the crazy thing about it is that he played longer in the league than the life he had before he even went into the league. Like, it's just crazy to think how long he spent playing basketball, and more than just playing basketball, just influencing it with everything that he did. And it's sad to see him go, and it's a terrible loss to the NBA community. Moving on to much more happier news, though, for the NBA. All-Star starters were announced on Thursday night on Inside the NBA. For the East, it was Giannis, Trae Young, Kemba Walker, Pascal Siakam, and Joel Embiid. While for the West, it's LeBron, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden. Do y'all have any surprise omissions that y'all found from those starters?
Not really, in my opinion.
I mean, I primarily look in the East. You know,
Yeah.
I believe, you know, Siakam, Embiid, and Giannis. You know, I feel though that's right.
Yeah.
Siakam being there, it's a little bit of a shock, but you know, he's had a really good season.
Yeah.
The guards, I'm slightly questioning, especially with Jimmy Butler now. Obviously, I don't know what
What you
what you categorize Jimmy Butler as. I'm pretty sure, you know, in most sense he'd be a guard, at least for this. But both Trae Young and Kemba Walker both deserve to be in the All-Star game. Starters,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's personally my feeling.
No, I agree with you about the Kemba Walker as well. However, I have to give a shout out to Luka because he is a rising star.
Yes.
I mean, let me tell you, I've watched that kid play. I love watching him play. He's going to be good the next couple of years. And it's refreshing, especially to see a young star come out, especially with the same names over time.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of nice to see someone new, and I think he'll be there a while, in my opinion. Sante?
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all actually. Like, especially Luka, he's one of my favorite players in the
Yeah.
NBA. He's
Yep.
gonna dominate the NBA for the next 10+ years. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he's gonna do in this game too, because I think he's gonna put on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
MVP,
agree.
I don't know.
I think he's going
but-
to take it very seriously.
But yeah, I think he's going to put on the show because honestly, last year I thought he should have. But you know, it's hard with rookies their first season.
Right.
But no, y'all hit it on the nail pretty much. I agree with both of y'all. So
Yeah, I think the West is. I agree wholeheartedly with that 5. And for the East, I actually agree with the guards. I don't think Kyrie deserved it over Kemba or Trae Young, and I really don't see another guard because I consider Jimmy Butler a forward, and I think he should have been over Siakam just because Siakam's missed so many games this year.
I didn't know what they categorized.
They categorized him as front court, so
Okay.
that's.
All right, well,
so I think he should have been over Siakam just
There
because
goes
he's played.
my thoughts.
Just because Butler's played almost every game this season. Siakam's missed about, I think, 15 so far this season. So that's why I would go with Butler. But I'm not mad about Siakam being named. I think Siakam deserves to be right there on that edge. So moving on, we're going to be playing the one-word game. So for our first topic for the one-word game tonight, Zion Williamson had a heck of a debut week, in my opinion, in the NBA last week. He averaged 18 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, while shooting over 60% from both the field and the three-point line.
I guess I'll go shooter. Now, the thing, everybody focused on Zion about his athleticism and his ability to, you know, dunk, get to the rim. But what he showed with these first few games is that he's no slouch when he has to shoot the ball. I mean, obviously showed there was 63%. Very good.
Yeah,
It was
that's
good.
kind of surprising.
Very good.
for his position too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it obviously him hitting 4 straight threes in his debut game. That was electric. Despite the fact that they lost, you know, like what you see is really good for a Pelicans team that, you know, they don't need it this season.
Right.
So, you know, I be a little conservative about it. Try to get them really integrated into it. So yeah, very good.
Yeah, I put first on here just because it's the first week. I mean, shooting wise, those are crazy numbers. I mean, I'm pretty sure he won't shoot that consistently well, but I think with the point and the rebound stats, they make sense, and I think those will be consistent. But the shooting numbers, I disagree with that. But I think he's got a bright future from the looks of this first week. But again, it's the first week, which is why I put first. So yeah. Okay. Go.
So I'm gonna say impressive because keep in mind, I don't think Zion's really 100% anyway. But he's putting up these numbers, and he's not 100%. My thing is that's scary. Like, imagine if he was 100% right now, the numbers he would put up. I think, Zion, great future ahead.
And the weapons he could have as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing for Pelicans fans to be looking forward to. I mean, I think I kind of knew Zion was like a decent shooter in college. He shot about 38% in his 1 year at Duke, which is usually translates well to the NBA game if you're shooting at least 35 or higher on the college level. So I wasn't too surprised, but it's still impressive to see how well he's playing. And yes, I agree with Asante. He's definitely not 100%. I also think he might need to lose a few pounds and get down to that 270 range to be playing as peak.
Not the best city to have that claim. Not the best city to have that claim. You need to lose weight.
Yeah, yep, I agree. Moving on, Clemson basketball has continued their hot home start in January, going 4-0 after last night's thrilling win against Syracuse, with Clyde Trapp making a layup with 2.5 seconds left to go. What are y'all's one words for it?
Well, my one word, I had undefeated, but I was kind of thinking about it, and I was going to say Clemson won all 4 of its home games in January, so it's a win-away for me. It sounds weird, but it rolls off the tongue pretty well in my opinion. I was at the game actually last night, and I will say it was stressful most of the game, but it was fun, and I could not believe that they pulled it off. I truly thought that they were going to blow it. Syracuse is a very good team. They are. I've watched them in enough close games, so I was intrigued to see how this one would go last night, but I'm glad that Clemson came out on the winning end, and they went undefeated at home in January. That's pretty impressive, especially against the ACC.
Yes.
I mean, it may be a little weaker this year than in recent years, but it's still the ACC.
Yeah.
So, what are your opinions?
My word is madness because I say that Clemson's been playing well, and my thing is, I'm ready for March Madness. I think it's going to be amazing this year.
I'm so excited.
Because think about college basketball this year. There's no dominant team this year.
No.
I don't think there's a team that really stands out. I mean, Clemson beat, the top 3 teams in the ACC? I don't know where Syracuse is at, but...
Syracuse was like 4th.
Yeah, Syracuse was in that top pack. Yeah. Duke was in that top pack. NC State's up there too.
Clemson's now like 1 game out of 4th place in the ACC.
Yeah, it's very tight right now.
I will say good. I know it's very. Very good home slate for Clemson. We want to talk about March. Everybody wants to talk about March.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea because of the thing is because college basketball isn't like top heavy this year.
Right.
There's a lot of middle, and there's a lot of teams like Clemson.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's very hard. It's hard to judge whether they'll actually make it or not.
So you know, like what it really depends on what happens in February. Yeah. I took a look at the schedule. It's not awful. You do have to play Louisville and Florida State, 2 top 6 teams again. But
where?
You get both at home.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
You get both at home.
Okay.
So you have the ability to, along with Duke, add another top 5, ish win in there. And then like on top of that, you're gonna have to win those games. You have to beat Virginia Tech. Like you're gonna have to you not necessarily beat Virginia. You're gonna have to win these games. So that's kind of it. So it's a good start. I don't know. It really depends on what happens with the rest of the ACC, the rest of college basketball. I did see a bracketology that was like the ACC might only get like 4 teams in this season.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me, but that's still
true.
It's the ACC. That's crazy.
I have no idea, but very good home Stand for Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at our schedule ahead after last night's game, and I really think that there's a shot we can win a very good majority of those games left. The only two, I feel like that it's going to be very, very tough for us to win are going to be FSU and Louisville. And I think if we can win one of those games and win, I think, a game, maybe two in the ACC tournament, then we can really think about going into March Madness and having a shot making the 68-team field. Moving on, something else that occurred last night. Coach K flipped out on his own fans. So there's a video last night when Duke was playing Pitt where Duke's Cameron Crazies were yelling stuff at former Duke assistant and Pitt coach Jeff Capel, and Coach K literally got up from the bench, I think it was right at the end of the half, and told them to shut up. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I found it hilarious. Being from North Carolina, I know how those Cameron Crazies are. There's been some debate, whether they've kind of slumped off over the last few years. Apparently not. Apparently they haven't. Enough for Coach K to literally at halftime, well, not before halftime, yell across the court, and then at halftime walk across 5 feet away from these students and yell at them and say, no, stop. I mean, Jeff Cable coached at Duke for a very long time, close to 20 years, I think. So, and he's also a Duke player, I believe, a former Duke player. So, come on.
I don't know. It's interesting to me because I had your word as well. But looking at it from another angle, I have the word loyalty because that takes a lot.
Yes.
I mean, he not only shouted across the court, but then he also went up to the students. That takes a lot of, I don't know what he was thinking, but I mean, he showed loyalty to his former assistant, and I think that's nice thing. It's a nice gesture, and the fact that he went up to the students personally and said these things, it was very interesting to me. However, these chants have taken place before.
Yeah.
And so why did he stop them last night? Why didn't he stop them before? I don't know.
I have a theory, but I'll let Asante go first.
I don't really have a take. I didn't really see it, but
So I'll continue. To be fair, I'm pretty sure Duke has played one of their former assistants as a head coach at home before. Have they?
I mean,
yeah.
well,
Mike Bray was.
Yeah. I don't know. I do feel as though the first year coming off, especially when he was the interim coach when Coach K was out for a few weeks with surgery, the last year, a few years ago.
Yeah, it was
a few years
I think context with this matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, my theory similar was what you were saying. I mean, Jeff Cable did coach as an interim for Duke for a little bit. And also, I feel like before he left to go to Pitt, I feel like he was being bred as Coach K's successor. So that's what I still think but now it's going to be competition from Bray and Woj too. So, yeah. Now, finally, the moment I think we've been waiting all episode to talk about. You know what the Sunday is, folks? It's the Super Bowl.
Oh man, forgot about that. Team rough.
But yeah, so this Sunday is the Super Bowl, 49ers and Chiefs. So I want to get y'all's picks and maybe a short little explanation why.
all right. I'm going with the Chiefs because
Draw.
okay.
Gosh darn.
All right, here we
You
go.
love your logos, Jay. How did you forget?
I don't know who to go with.
Andy Reid, I said it 2 weeks ago. He used to coach the Eagles. I would love to see him go out on top. I think he deserves a ring. Patrick Mahomes, I think he's gonna, if he can find cracks in that Niners defense, I think he can make this game really interesting, and I think he'll actually come through. I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs, 27-24.
Wow. I also have the Chiefs. As you can see, my drawing skills are mastered. No, they're really bad. It's okay. No, I have the Chiefs as well, and mainly because I have a gut feeling that Mahomes is going to have his best game. That's my gut feeling. But now, do I think it will be close? Yes, I think so. I have to agree with Asante on that point as well. But I also agree with him that the Chiefs will come out on top. So, I don't know. It'll be an interesting game to see. Go, Jay.
Niners.
I know this was hard for me as well.
I will be honest, I haven't thought about this game one bit. Not
either.
Not in the sense of I haven't thought about the Super Bowl, just not who I was gonna pick.
Right.
Knowing I was gonna be on the show. I'm just gonna take the Chiefs, whatever.
Well, you know why it's hard? Because the Patriots aren't in the Super Bowl this year. So you can't be like.
True.
I can't just
Yeah.
go ahead and just do it.
Right.
I mean, so I think the 49ers might be the better team as a whole.
Yeah.
Yes,
I am
I agree.
slightly concerned about what the Chiefs defense is, especially early in games.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers defense has been very good over the playoffs, and you know the 49ers offense has been able to do what they've done throughout the whole season, and you know be a very balanced team, not terribly flashy, but
Right.
get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen the Chiefs down by 24 and what? How much were they down by the Titans? Like 14.
14, yeah.
Yeah, like these teams were in a hole and they were in the lead at half. I mean, look, if there's a defense that can stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, it's the 49ers.
Yeah.
But until I see it, I kind of have to stick with it.
It's tough.
I mean, like, I don't know. This offense just kind of, unless they kind of just fold in the Super Bowl.
That could happen too.
I don't foresee them
Could happen.
not scoring 35 points.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the 49ers are going to be able to keep up with it. That's kind of my feelings.
Yeah.
I think I'm going with the Chiefs. I don't think Jimmy G's going to be able to handle the pressure and because I don't think they're going to be able to lean on Mostert, because you watch Kansas City Tennessee game, they held Derrick Henry in check all night, and Derrick Henry, I say, is the best pure running back in the league if you're going from a power standpoint. So I think that Mostert's going to struggle. I don't think Garoppolo's going to be ready to handle all that load. So I think Kansas City, I don't say it's a blowout, but I don't think it's going to be – I think it's going to be like a 14-point game. I think it's going to be a 2-touchdown game.
I think it's going to be something kind of like that, just
Yeah, I
boring.
agree.
Like,
Yeah.
the Chiefs are just going to have a 14-point lead, and they're just going to kind
Yeah.
of hold the arm out.
Also, with a fun fact, 2 of the top 3 tight ends, one of them is guaranteed a ring, Kelsey or Kittle. So one of them's going to get a ring.
Big
So,
tight end.
yeah.
Yep. And that is all for this week's episode of The Extra Point. I've been Pierson Wylie. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Good night.